Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Well, if you're new here, my name is Rajabalav Shyam and I basically make art. This is, I think, kind of my first tutorial that I'll be doing in this YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be teaching you stuff about stylization. A year ago, my styles were quite different from what you are currently seeing now in this channel lately. It used to be more kind of realistic because hyperrealism and photorealism and all the realistic styles that I saw, I was very much inspired by them, and that's how I got into art. But as time went by and I was creating more and more realistic drawings, I was like getting bored of it a little bit and looking at other artists in social media who had a very unique and different art style that feels just so authentic to look at. I kind of also felt that I wanted the same. This video might not just be a tutorial for learning stylization, but yeah, maybe it can also give you some tips on finding your own art style, just like I did. So let's get along with our video, and these are 4 rules or tips without which you cannot stylize your portraits, or maybe a little help in finding your art style. So tip number 1 is to actually get inspired. Get scrolling around in social media, follow artists who inspire you. There are a lot of amazing artists who you can find on social media platforms. And in my case, for example, I really like the styles of Loish and Sam Does Arts, and there's Ethan Becker, Ross Dross. People usually think that art style has to come from within you. As far as I know, what many artists have said, they have always been first inspired by other people and then moved on to find their own art style. So please get away from these lies and do what more naturally comes to you. Maybe you have come across an artist who do really good illustrations and you want to copy exactly what you're seeing, then please go for it. There have been numerous times where I literally have copied exactly the same thing what other artists have drawn. Yeah, so that is your first step in developing your stylization technique. Tip number 2 is to mimic your favorite artists. And just like I said, if you like someone's art, don't hesitate to copy it and make an exact thing like that. Although it is not fair if you copy someone else's art and say to the people that it's yours. That's basically copyright infringement. Yeah, so you can steal, but for fair use. When I had first started this journey a year ago, what I did was I copied many artists, and including them was Sam Does Arts, or Sam Yang, or Yang. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. And the second was Loish, and they have inspired me to follow on their footsteps. So these are some sketches that I did, copying them. I try to mimic their art styles and apply it to my own drawings. It's actually funny to see how we are able to draw character drawings looking at other people's art, but when we pick a reference image of our own and we try to apply those techniques into that, it becomes suddenly very hard. So that is another thing which you have to get on practicing with. So these are some art books which I have bought, and I suggest you to do the same, because you will be able to get more of a deeper insight of how some of the very talented illustrators or your favorite artists have developed their own art styles and can give you advices. And so one is a book by Loish, which I highly recommend because she is also my favorite artist. And in this book, she has mentioned so many tips and tutorials. So with these books, what I tried to do was I practiced copying all the illustrations that were present there. So basically, I was training my hands to have that kind of shape language while drawing in default. When you are an artist who have been taught and trained to draw things as realistically as possible from a very early age, it's kind of hard to jump straight into this stylized forms and exaggerated shape language, because this type of drawing is quite different from what you have been learning before, trying to make anatomy perfect. So when you have been learning for so long to make drawings in such a particular way, your reflex will always go for exactly replicating what you are seeing in the reference pic. Because stylization or your art style is not an inbuilt thing. You have to develop it on your own by getting inspired from other artists and mixing different styles into one. And then the fusion that you make, you can call it as your own. And tip number 3 is to unfold the box. So what that means is that you have to dig into other people's process and you have to see how they have done things in their way. For example, when you go through the Instagram profile of Sam Does Arts, he has his characters look very Disney-like. So you have to study all that and you have to notice how Sam has done the eyes or the lips in a very different way to what actually humans look like. You can also try to find the references that they used and maybe compare the drawing with the references, and it will be easier for you to study how the shape language has been captured. So on the screen you are seeing some pictures that I found out of the references that Loish and Sam Does Arts have used. So I took my time in studying those, comparing the reference with the actual art. And I was observing how they have changed certain parts of the face. So this is going to help you the next time when you pick a reference and you try to do something stylized. The easier way to get along with that will be to find a reference image that very much resembles the same pose that the artist used in one of his or her drawings. So because it is so similar, it gets easier for you to apply the same kind of shape language into your art, looking at the illustration that the artist made. Now, tip number 4 is to take the baby steps and practice to get better. You don't have to jump straight right into it. The thing is that the result will be not good at your first few trials. The catch is to always start small and not think that you're going to make a fine piece out of it. Well, it is because when you make up your mind and you plan into doing something really good with very high expectation, when you fail at that or your art do not look like what you had visioned in your mind. There have been so many times when I have thought like that, and definitely my first few trials were not great, but still I had planned that I will make it a certain way, and somehow that didn't work, and that felt miserable. So never start big when you adopt a new way of drawing technique. The first few trials will always be not great. Maybe you can try doing some sketches and just make a few head studies on your sketchbooks. When you reach to a point that you think that your sketches have become better than before and has become more finished, then you can head in creating your very first new masterpiece. Yeah, so these are all tips and rules that I've learned in my journey, and maybe it can also apply to you in your journey as well in creating more stylized characters. Though just for the record, I must say that these points are not the absolute truth and definitely are not limited to what you should do. You might have more opinions and ideas regarding this. And if you are an artist who already do this type of stylized stuff, then maybe you had a different learning progress than mine. So let me know all that in the comments. And if you have suggestions with which you think I can improve my videos, please feel free to let me know all that in the comment section below. And with that all being said, we have come to the end of our video. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you think this was helpful to you. And thank you so much for watching.